All right, buckle up, folks. We are diving deep today into a world, oh boy, a world on the brink. Think ancient evils waking up, magic crackling in the air, and the fate of, well, everything, riding on the shoulders of one dude. We're talking about The Shadow Rising. It's book 4, for those keeping score, in Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. And let me tell you, this deep dive, you're going to be fluent in all things Wheel of Time by the time we're done.
And what a world it is. The thing is, with this book, Jordan, he takes these big classic themes, right? Destiny, good versus evil, all that, and he makes them hit you right in the feels. You're going to see characters wrestling their own demons while the entire world's about to go kaboom.
No pressure, huh? Though, speaking of pressure, let's talk about Rand al'Thor. You know, the sheep herder who finds out he's got the universe's worst temp job. The Dragon Reborn. Saving the world, maybe. Destroying it in the process. Entirely possible.
Talk about a burden. This isn't just, oh, I got to take the trash out. This is every breath I take could unravel reality. And on top of all that, he's Tavern.
Quick reminder, listeners. Cavern, they're like walking chaos magnets, warping fate without even meaning to.
It's true. And it's not always like, boom, earthquake. Sometimes it's subtle. Like, remember when Rand's Tavern makes a dried-up fountain start flowing again?
I would settled for finding my keys that day, but hey, to each their own.
Exactly. But it shows you this tavern thing, it's woven into everything. And get this, Rand's not the only one. 2 of his buddies, also tavern. All because of him. Talk about complicated.
You think they compare notes? So, what weirdness did your destiny drag you into today?
But speaking of complicated, let's talk about the Aes Sedai. These are the women who wield the One Power. Basically, they've got the keys to the Magic Kingdom, and let's just say their reputation precedes them.
Oh yeah, they've got the power, no doubt. But imagine, women wielding the forces of creation and destruction. People are going to be scared, in awe, suspicious, all at once.
Right, like cool superpowers, but do I trust you with them? And then to make things even more fun, they're split into these Ajas, right, like factions within the magic users. Each Aja, they've got their own thing, their own way of using the power. Healers, scholars, you name it. But then there's the Black Aja.
Yeah.
And that's when things get creepy.
Yeah, the Black Aja, they're like the ultimate betrayal. Explain it to our listeners. Why are they the stuff of nightmares?
Just picture it, a secret society inside the Aes Sedai, and they're loyal, not to good, not to balance, but to the Dark One. You know, the big bad evil of this world. They're working from the inside, pulling strings, causing chaos.
Talk about a bad day at the office. Speaking of bad news, we got to talk about the big bad himself, the Dark One. He may be in prison, but his influence, well, it's spreading like a bad rumor.
And the Black Aja, they're not his only tools. Nope, he's got the Forsaken too. Imagine the most powerful magic users, twisted and bound to his will.
That's a big note from me.
And even that, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Take Machin Shin, for example. It's a creature made of pure evil, lurking in the ways, which are like magic shortcuts through reality.
So not even the magical express lanes are safe.
Exactly. And that tells you everything right there.
Yeah.
Danger lurks everywhere in this world. And Rand, he's stuck right in the middle of it, trying to figure out who to trust, how to fight, and whether any of this was on his LinkedIn profile.
Talk about a bad day at the cosmic office. And if the world-ending threats weren't enough, his love life makes things even more complicated. Especially with Gwen, Nina Babe, and Elaine, who all have their own parts to play.
Ah, yes, the women in Rand's life. Each one's a powerhouse, strong, independent, and able to channel the One Power. Let's just say their relationships. Definitely not a walk in the park.
It's like Robert Jordan said, let's crank the drama up to 11, and we're just getting started.
Oh, absolutely. Buckle up.
And we're back, diving deeper into the Shadow Rising, where ancient prophecies are colliding, dangers around every corner, and, well, let's just say Rand's love life could use a vacation. But first, he's got this small matter of a terrifying journey through the ways to deal with.
Oh yeah, remember Machin Shin? That creepy crawly made of pure evil we mentioned. Well, let's just say Rand and his buddies get up close and personal. Talk about a close encounter of the terrifying kind.
Yeah, reading that had me checking under the bed, not gonna lie. And Jordan really makes you feel that fear, you know? But what I found interesting was how each character, they react so differently. You got Matt, always the gambler, relying on luck and trickery.
So plan that, Matt.
And then there's Perrin. He taps into this whole wolf brother thing, even howling back at this creature of darkness.
Classic Jordan, right? He shows us there's no one way to be brave. Perrin's all instinct, and while loyal, good old loyal Dioja, he's all about protecting everyone else, sealing that waygate up tight.
See, a hero for every occasion. But that decision closing the waygate, that has ripple effects, doesn't it? It's not just over and done with.
Oh, absolutely. And that's Jordan for you. Every little thing matters. Every choice sends these shockwaves through fate. And nowhere are those shockwaves felt more strongly than in the Ale Waste. This harsh, unforgiving land, it's almost a character in itself.
Speaking of characters, we got to talk about the Ale. They're not just desert dwellers, are they? They're these fierce warriors bound by honor, tradition, and they've got a starring role in this whole Dragon Reborn prophecy.
For ages, they've waited for the Dragon Reborn to emerge from Rudian, this sacred city in the heart of the Waste. It's where they face their past, decide their future. But the Ale, well, they're a bit like the Aes Sedai, not exactly one big, happy family.
Cue the drama. And that's where Couladin comes in, right? This clan chief who's not exactly throwing a parade for Rand.
Couladin, he represents that fear of change, clinging to tradition even when the world's telling you to evolve or die. It's the struggle Rand's got going on, too, internally.
Two sides of the same coin, both wanting what they think is best for the ale. And then you throw in two, this ale code of obligation that makes a pretzel look simple. I swear, I needed a flowchart to keep up.
Imagine like a web of duties and responsibilities connecting everyone from individuals to entire clans. It's about honor, justice, the glue that holds their society together, and Rand. Poor guy's trying to learn the language while navigating a cosmic crisis.
Talk about culture shock. But while all this ale drama's going down, the rest of the world's not exactly peaceful, is it? You got nations scheming, shadow spawn lurking, and the threat of war simmering like a pot about to boil over.
And poor Rand's right in the middle of it, making choices that could save the world or accidentally destroy it. No pressure or anything.
I'd be hiding under the covers with a year's supply of snacks. But Rand, he keeps going. He's got more guts than I do, that's for sure.
He's got help, though. His friends, especially Egwene and Nynaeve, they stand by him. And Matt, well, Matt's Matt, always stumbling headfirst into trouble, even when he tries to run in the opposite direction.
Classic Matt. But they all have a part to play, right? It's not just a one-man show.
Exactly. And that's what makes the Shadow Rising so gripping. It reminds us that even ordinary folks can get swept up in extraordinary events. Nobody escapes fate entirely, especially when they're tangled up in Rand's Tavern web.
It's like you're trying to order pizza and suddenly, bam! Destiny delivers you a world-ending prophecy instead. But it's not just about accepting what's coming, is it? It's about the choices we make within that chaos, who we decide to be when everything's on the line.
And those choices, they have consequences, not just for Rand, but for everyone and everything around him. And boy, are those consequences about to hit the fan.
Back for more. We're in the thick of it now with the Shadow Rising. We've seen terrifying creatures, political power plays, and enough personal drama to fuel a whole season of reality TV.
And it all builds up to this, doesn't it? The climax. All those threads Jordan's been weaving together, prophecies, rivalries, the Dark One looming in the background, they converge in one epic showdown.
And that showdown happens at Cold Rock's Hold, right? It's not just a random fortress in the middle of nowhere. This place becomes the stage for a battle with the fate of, well, everything hanging in the balance.
Imagine it. Clan chiefs, tensions running high, the air practically crackling with suspicion, and Rand, right in the middle of it, trying to hold everything together.
Talk about stressful. He's got Couladin whispering doubts in one ear, the weight of the world on his shoulders, and I'm pretty sure Laundry Day was sometime last week.
But it's bigger than just who's the boss, isn't it? It's about two completely different visions of what the Ale should be, what the future holds.
Yeah, you've got Couladin, clinging to tradition, the old ways, sees Rand as this disruption, a threat.
Exactly. And Rand, he represents change, a new path for the Ale, maybe a way out of the cycles of violence that have haunted them for centuries. But change is scary, right?
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. It's like that feeling when you rearrange your furniture and suddenly you don't know where anything is anymore, but it makes you think, doesn't it? That whole tradition versus change thing. It's not just an Ale problem, is it? It's something we all grapple with.
All the time. Jordan, he was a master at taking these big universal themes and making them personal. But Couladin's not the only one Rand has to worry about. Don't forget the wise ones, those powerful Ale women. They're watching his every move.
Talk about an intimidating audience. They make Simon Cowell look like a teddy bear. And then you've got Moiraine, right? Rand's Aes Sedai mentor, always 10 steps ahead. But is she on his side? Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Moiraine, she's playing a dangerous game. Loyal to the Aes Sedai, but she also sees what Rand could be, what he needs to become to face the Dark One. One wrong move, though, and it all blows up in her face.
It's like she's juggling chainsaws while riding a unicycle on a tightrope. High stakes. But amidst all this, Rand, he goes to Rudian, that mysterious city in the heart of the Ale Waste. What happens in Rudian? Why is it such a big deal?
Imagine a place where the past isn't dead. It's alive. The Ale, they go there to face their ancestors, their history, everything that makes them who they are.
Intense. Did they have group discounts asking for a friend?
And for Rand, it's life-changing. He doesn't just learn about his past, he experiences it, feels it. The Ale's triumphs, their heartbreaks, their deep connection to the Dragon Reborn, it's all there.
Wow. Talk about an Ancestry.com deep dive. No wonder he comes out of there different, changed.
He's not just Randall Thor sheepherder anymore. He's the Karakarn, the leader the Ale have been waiting for. But it's a lot to take in, isn't it? The weight of an entire people's expectations on your shoulders.
Yeah, no kidding. I get stressed picking out what to have for dinner. But even with all that, his problems aren't over. He's still got Couladin to deal with, doubts to quell, and choices to make that could save the world or doom it.
And this is where Jordan really shines. He doesn't shy away from the tough questions. What does it mean to be a leader? What sacrifices are you willing to make? Rand, he has to make impossible decisions, knowing that people might die because of them.
That's heavy stuff, but it culminates in this amazing showdown. Rand versus Couladin. Not a fist fight, but a battle of wills, a clash of ideas. Talk about a nail-biter.
And the thing is, Rand, he doesn't win by being the strongest, the most powerful. He wins because he understands the Ale. He uses his power to heal, to nurture, to show them he's not there to conquer, but to lead.
And that's a leadership lesson for the ages. But while all this is happening, Perrin, back in the Two Rivers, he's got his own battles to fight.
Perrin's story, it's a reminder that we don't have to be prophesied heroes to be brave. He's just an ordinary guy trying to protect his home, his people. But he steps up, doesn't he? Finds that strength he never knew he had.
He's like the neighbor who helps you bring in your groceries when it's pouring rain. You don't realize how strong he is until you need him. And he's got help, right? The villagers, the Ale who stand with him, and of course, those wolves. Always the wolves.
That connection to the wolves, it's fascinating, isn't it? This idea that there's a wildness inside us all, something ancient and powerful just waiting to be awakened.
Maybe that's why I like dogs so much. But Perrin, he uses that connection, not to become some kind of super being, but to outsmart the White Cloaks, to protect what matters to him. It's pretty inspiring when you think about it.
It is. And then there's Egwene and Nynaeve finding their way, becoming Aes Sedai, learning, growing, pushing against the boundaries of what they thought was possible. They're not sidekicks in someone else's story. They're the heroes of their own.
That's what I love about the Shadow Rising, and really the whole Wheel of Time series. It reminds us that everyone has a part to play, that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, we can find the strength to fight for what we believe in.
Exactly. It's about choice, courage, and the enduring power of hope. And on that note, we come to the end of our deep dive. But before we go, we have one final question for you, our listener.
What would you do if you were in Rand's shoes? How would you face your destiny, knowing that the fate of the world rests on your shoulders?
It's a question worth pondering, isn't it? Because in the end, The Shadow Rising isn't just a fantasy novel. It's a reflection of our own lives, our own struggles, and the choices we make every single day.